Here is my project or paper bag assignment on the book The Outsiders. Here is the bag. It's very nice. My first item is 2-Bit's switchblade, or pocket knife. 2-Bit's switchblade is his most prized possession, and in several ways represents the discard for authority for which greasers traditionally pride themselves. First of all, the blade is stolen. Second, it represents a sense of the individual power that comes with the potential to commit violence. The symbolism surfaces most clearly when Dali borrows the blade from 2-Bit and uses it to break out of the hospital to join his gang in the Rumble. It's fitting that 2-Bit finally loses it when the police confiscate it from Dali's dead body. The loss of the weapon at this point becomes inextricably linked with the loss of Dali, a figure who embodies individual power and authority. My second item is a car. Cars represent the Soci's power and the Greaser's vulnerability. Because their parents cannot afford to buy them tough cars that the Socias have, the Socias have increased mobility and protection. The Greasers who are mostly on foot and physically vulnerable in comparison to the Socias. Still, Greasers like Derry, Soda Pop, and Steve do have contact with automobiles. They repair them. We can interrupt this interaction with cars positively or negatively. On one hand, it symbolizes how the Greasers have a more direct and well-rounded experience than the Socias when the gritty realities of life. On the other hand, the fact that the Greasers must service and care for Socias' possessions demonstrates that the Socias have the power to oppress the Greasers. My next item is a ring, or Bob's ring. Bob Sheldon's ring functions similarly to the Socias cars. Throughout literature, rings have been jewelry that have been traditional symbols of wealth. The ring in this story represents the physical power that accompanies wealth by using the rings as combative weapons. Bob takes advantage of the economic superiority over Ponyboy and the other Greasers, using this wealth to injure his opponents. My next item is hair grease, or hair gel in this case. The Greasers cannot afford rings, cars, or other physical trappings of power that the Socias enjoy. Consequently, they must resort to the more affordable markers of identity by using their hair in a specific style. Greasers distinguish themselves from the other social groups' consequtive cultural values of the 1960s called for men to keep their hair short, and the Greaser style is clear transgression of the social convention. It's not only distractive, but as a physical characteristic, the hair is a truly organic part of the Greaser's persona. When the Socias jump Ponyboy at the beginning of the book, they ask him if he wants a haircut, and they threaten to cut his hair off. By doing this, they would rob him of his identity. My next item is the book Gone with the Wind. The book Gone with the Wind symbolizes the comfort of knowledge and sympathy that both Johnny and Ponyboy love to confide in. My next item is sunsets and sunrises. The Outsiders represent the beauty and the goodness of the world, particularly after Johnny comprises the gold in the poem. Nothing gold can say. The only gold of the sunrises and sunsets Ponyboy enjoys. The sunset also stands for the common humanity of all people, regardless of the gang to which they belong. In their first conversation at the drive-in, Cherry and Ponyboy find common ground in their enjoyment of the same sunset from opposite sides of the town. My last item is chocolate. Chocolate egg. Ponyboy is frequently seen eating candy bars, and there's nothing really very symbolic about a kid eating candy. But when we add chocolate cake for breakfast into the mix, the treat does take a different bittersweet symbolism. When Ponyboy is describing his breakfast making activities on the morning after he returns from Day Mountain, he tells us, "All of us like chocolate cake for breakfast. Mom never allowed it with ham and eggs, but Derry let Soda talk him into it. We don't really have to twist his arm. Derry loves chocolate cake as much as we do." So in some ways, chocolate, specifically chocolate cake, becomes a symbol of the Curtis boys' loss of their parents. What kid hasn't thought of something like, if mom and dad weren't around, I'd eat chocolate cake for breakfast every day? Well, if it meant the loss of mom and dad, chocolate cake for breakfast wouldn't sound like such a great thing, would it? Ponyboy makes sure that we understand that Derry only lets them eat the cake with the nutritious ham and eggs, and that Derry provides nutritious, balanced meals. The cake symbolizes their loss, but also Derry's desire to give his brother anything to take away from their strong loss of from their lives. The brothers reach for sweetness and increasingly bitter time in their lives. Done.